Hello everyone. This is my first attempt at one of many different webinars to break up the various details of the topics that I teach in entrepreneurship, small business management, and business strategy. So today's topic is graphic design, and in particular how to use Adobe Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. This is what the icon for Photoshop looks like. If you don't have it already, you'll need to either install a free 30-day trial version, or you can rent, ineffectively, Photoshop and many other Adobe products from their cloud for about $19.99 a month. So a lot of this functionality is exactly the same on Pixlr. So many of the things that I'm teaching in this particular webinar are the exact same things you need to do for using the free Pixlr software as well. So what I want to do is put together a graphic. So the slide that I'm going to be going over in class today is focused on, here we go, course materials. It's focused on customer acquisition and guerrilla marketing. So this is the big picture of what I want to go over in the entire topic of customer acquisition and guerrilla marketing in small businesses. This is how I would represent what we're going to go over in words. However, the phrase "a picture's worth 1,000 words" is often very true, and this is what I actually want everyone to do for small business management and customer acquisition part of small business management. This is actually a visual representation of that. And if we go in and open that up, this is what it looks in a little bit bigger version on my website. I just put this whole graphic together over the weekend, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to illustrate to everybody how you put together a graphic like this. So the end result that we want to get to is that we have a website page that looks like this. Right now, we have a blank page that looks like this. So the first thing you need to do is open a new file. So you're going to go File, New, and you can give it a name. We'll call this Customer Acquisition Example. And usually Photoshop, as well as Pixlr, will give you a default width and height for your project. This is going to be too small. We're probably going to want more. It's easier, I think, sometimes to think in inches. So if we change this to inches, this is 8.5 by very short. Okay, I had the opportunity to test one of the interesting things about webinars, which is that I can pause and start again as I'm recording. I had a visit to the office hours right now, so I believe where I left off was width and height. The height here in inches is pretty small. I know that's not going to be enough, so let's just make this height an 8.5 by 11, a normal sheet of paper. We're probably going to have to edit it later, but it's easy to change the size of the canvas later. So we'll create a canvas to work on. Now, if we remember, this is what we want to get to. So basically, this is a lot like making a scrapbook or a collage. We need to go out and get a bunch of stuff to paste in to the document here, and then organize it in the right way. That's in broad brushstrokes terms what you're trying to do with a lot of these projects in either Pixlr or Photoshop. So first thing we need to do, so we don't forget, is create a new layer. We'll rename the layer later, but this way every item that we add starts getting added as a new layer. It's much easier to work with everything when you create a new layer for every additional element that you add to a Photoshop project. And again, every time I say Photoshop, 90% of this applies the exact same way to Pixlr as well. So what we need to do is go get a bunch of stuff to put into our collage, or to our scrapbook, basically. And as I mentioned in class, one of the best ways to go get stuff to put into a collage on Photoshop is just to go to Google Images. So if we go to Google and then click on Images, and if for some reason you don't have the navigation bar that says Images there, if you just type in images.google.com, that'll also bring you to Google Images. But many of you, because of your Gmail settings or your Google Drive settings, will already have an option up here that allows you to go to Google Images. If you don't, however, just type in images.google.com. So the first picture up here at the top was a picture of the Condors logo. So if we just simply go in and type Bakersfield Condors, there's a gazillion pictures here that we can download and use. I will get in a future lecture, either in class or on a webinar, I will explain more how you can tell in these pictures which ones are public domain and which ones actually you will eventually have to sign a licensing agreement for. Right now, to get started, just choose whatever picture you think works best, and we'll get to a separate lecture on the licensing behind this. Many things that are on Google Images are in the public domain, not all of them are. So all you're going to do, I think this is the one that I used, you click on the image that you like, you then click View Image, you right-click on it, or whatever Mac users do for right-clicking, and Save Image As. And I've already gone and saved many of these before, so they're all saved in a folder that I created on my Management 645 drive here called Podcast Prep Materials. So wherever you're going to save something on your local drive, just remember where you saved it and gather up all of these different pictures that you need. That's one example of how I found the Condors picture. Everything else that you see in this picture, I either downloaded from Google Images or I did as a screenshot. So just real quickly, this example of an email from the Condors, this example of the AHL brochure from the Condors are screenshots. These arrows, the team logo, the little talking person logo, those are actually all things that I got from Google Images. I just typed in curved arrow, for example, to find the arrow. I typed two-way arrow to find this one. Almost all of the images that I have in here I could find on Google Images. The ones that I couldn't find on Google Images, like this example of the email which contains the social media addresses for the Condors. It's kind of hard to see what that is, but that's what it is. I simply went to the printout of the document that I made, the PDF document with the Condors document, open that document, and then on my laptop, it's you hold down the function key and then type print screen. It's the end button, but basically function on my laptop's keyboard is in blue, and then any other key that has blue writing on it If you hold down the function key and then hit that button, it'll do what the blue words on the button say. So on my laptop, to do a screenshot, you do function print screen. It's different on different types of laptops. Hopefully most of you know how to do a screenshot. If you don't, I can do a separate podcast eventually on all the different major hardware types and how to do a screenshot, or we can just have meetings in my office hours one way or the other. Anyway, once you have clicked the right buttons on your machine to get a screenshot, just go back to Photoshop, open a new document, and once you've done the screenshot, Photoshop actually recognizes the size of the picture that you did a screenshot of. So if you just click OK, that's exactly the size of canvas you need. You click Control V to paste, and the screenshot that I just made is in here. Then we just need to crop that picture so we just have the email and nothing else. So you're going to click the little button that has the cross-hatching right angles, highlight what you want to crop, and then just hit enter, and that creates a document. Then you're just going to save that as not a Photoshop document. You're going to save it as a JPEG file. Sometimes you may want to save as a PNG file or other type. Default option, when in doubt, save as a JPEG file. Then I just went into podcast prep materials. I called this Condor's social media, and I saved it. So once you're done using Photoshop for creating the screenshot document, just go up here. This is where all your different windows, different projects in Photoshop are. You can just close that project, and you don't need to save the Photoshop document. You just needed to use Photoshop to create a JPEG in this case. So close that. Then we're back here at the canvas. So once we have gathered all of the different items that we need for the canvas, we're going to start putting them into the canvas and then organizing them all. Real easy way to put things into your canvas is simply go to wherever it is that you have all the documents saved. Make that window a little smaller so that you can have Photoshop and the Windows Explorer or the file navigator in your Mac open at the same time, and just pull the document, drag and drop it into Photoshop. And then the Condor's document is here. Well, the Condor's picture is here. If for some reason you need to rotate it, if you move your mouse outside the document to where you have little curved arrows, you can rotate the entire picture whichever way you want. We don't want to rotate this. We do, however, want to make it a little smaller. So just grab the edge of the document, click with your left mouse button, and then pull on your mouse to either make it bigger or smaller. Once you've got it to about the right size, stop moving the mouse, let go of the left mouse button, and just click enter. And you've got your document. You'll see that is now in this layer that says Condors. And if we want it at the top of the document, so if we've got this little arrow with the crosshatch pattern on it, that allows us to grab, so just push the left mouse button again and move the mouse, and you can move that item to wherever you want it to be on the screen. You're going to do the same thing for every different item that you wanted. So the Condor's social media, I pull that in and resize it. You'll see that automatically was created in a different layer. Then I can move it, etc., etc., etc. once I have dragged and dropped every single one of these pieces of content that I want in my project, the project is going to look like a bunch of different individual layers like this. I'm going to go ahead and close this document now and open the document that the finished project basically that I created over the course of the weekend. So if we go in and open up this is the finished project that I created for that document. So you'll notice here there's a couple of things that are not drag and drop. The words where I describe each step of this process. So if we zoom in, you can view the words and items on the canvas a bit better. You'll notice I put a description of what happens at each stage in this process: determining marketing message, doing initial outreach, developing customer vignettes, all the way down. Those words were actually added by going over here to the little T, clicking on that T, putting it wherever I wanted, and then typing track. Nope, need to make the font size bigger first. So it's kind of funky to change the size of text once you've already started typing it. So it's better to go in and change to the size you want before you start typing. Track information. You're just going to type what you want and then click enter, and that'll create those words in there. And you'll see it's a new, each of the things that you put on this canvas is an individual item in this right-hand window here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer because I already have it there, but that's how you create it. If you right-click, there's a bunch of different ways to delete things. You can either right-click and go to delete layer. Even faster is to just take the layer, click with your left mouse button, drag it over to the little garbage can, and drop it in the garbage can. So now you'll notice all these items that we wanted are in the canvas, and now we want to organize the items together so that we can we can move them more easily. So originally there were a bunch of individual layers that looked like this. I took those layers and just simply held the control button down and left-clicked on each of them with my mouse, and then if I highlighted what I want and I go to layer and group layers, so this is basically going to take the curved arrows and the develop customer vignette words, and it groups them together. So you'll notice if I click group layers and then I've highlighted that group, so that I've just created a new group. We could call it new name just by double clicking on the layer. You'll notice if I move it, it moves all three of those items together. You'll notice here I have created folders for each of the different groups of items here on this canvas. So if you look, the word of mouth, WOM items, if I just highlight that folder once I've grouped these items, I can move the entire group together. Makes it much easier to arrange your canvas visually. So all of that being the case, once you're finally done with the document, you go to File, Save As, not Save, because Save is going to save this as a project in Photoshop. What you actually want the document to save as is either a JPEG or a PNG document. I would suggest saving as a PNG in many cases because if you save as a JPEG, it will save a standard sort of default white background behind things unless you've designated another background. And we don't want a background. We want all these items to go onto whatever background we eventually put them in on a website. So if you save it as a PNG file, that actually creates just a file with these individual images and no background. You'll notice here, if there's a checkerboard pattern in Photoshop, it means that there's no embedded background. Unfortunately, when you save as a JPEG format puts in a background as a default. So if you don't want a background as a default, you need to save as a PNG file. Once you have saved as a PNG file, that brings us to webinar topic number 2, which I will go into at a later date, and that is how to then take these images, upload them into either social media or a website or wherever else you want them, so that they are eventually sitting in a viewable online format like it is here in my website. But that we will get to in another webinar. For now, I'm going to conclude today's webinar and record it, hopefully in time for class. See you all later.